Right. The first intimate secret is romance. The first intimate secret of intimacy is romance. And so, what is romance? Romance is a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. And a lifestyle is very personal. It's really personal to you. And it's only when you have a romance lifestyle, and that's the lifestyle you live, you're able to share that lifestyle with others. So if you make your personal lifestyle dependent on another, it could be a fun experience, but it is not regenerative. And you have to work really hard at even sustaining it because it has dependency on someone else. So this is the first intimate secret of intimacy, really getting that romance, which we sometimes intertwine with love, with intimacy, is in fact a lifestyle. And you say what that lifestyle is all about. We all know the vibe of romance, right? Like you've heard me say many times that every word has an innate vibration. The innate vibration of romance is unbridled, unleashed, alive, free. There's a sense of adventure in it, exuberance. You can literally, so how do you work with it? Like with each of these pearls of wisdom and each of the 7, whatever it is that we are talking about, when I talk about each one, I do a deep dive. I always say, get into the lay of the land, first of all. So first romance is a lifestyle. And a lifestyle, just lifestyle per se is very personal to you. You create your lifestyle of romance. And again, you may be born into a lifestyle of your parents, and you can learn from that. Yes, it provides a good foundation. You can learn from that. You can build on it. But you create your lifestyle. It's a very conscious choice. So if you're creating a lifestyle that has an innate vibration of adventure, of aliveness, of unbridled expression of you, that becomes romance, and that lifestyle is what you can share with another and with others. And you continue living that romance lifestyle, and it continues to regenerate itself. So the first thing is, you take the phrase romance as a lifestyle, and you look at, you decide, you create your lay of the land. Look at all those amazing moments that you call, deeply romantic moments of your life. How did you feel? What were the words that you would use to describe those moments? And it's that which gives you your lay of the land in terms of how you define romance for you. Given that it's a lifestyle and it's very personal, it's actually quite intimate to you. And from that vantage point, where you own the romance lifestyle as one of your creation that you are ready to share, if you already have a partner in your life, then you can come together and say, okay, this is what my romance lifestyle looks like for me, and I would love to share it with you. And invite them to do the same. And then you can go ahead and co-create which is you're designing what a romance lifestyle can look like for the two of you as a couple, or for the two of you as friends, or for the two of you as siblings, whatever it might be. It's not restricted to a lover partner at all. It's a lifestyle that is personal to you. I mean, it's quite ironical that, for me, I got this understanding, and I have to say, I really embarked on a romance lifestyle once I decided that I was completing my relationship, and I was embarking into the realm of the unknown when I chose to go on my spiritual journeys into Bali by myself. It was a romance lifestyle with nature initially. But if I didn't have that romance lifestyle approach where I was creating it initially for myself, I then started co-creating it with nature around me. And it would literally be like I would wake up in the morning, where am I going to go today? Because to me, it was a lifestyle of adventure, of enchanting adventure even. An enchanting adventure that brought me alive. An enchanting adventure that brought me alive and reconnected me to my authenticity and was filled with wonder, rich in color, was divinely guided, had a lightness of being. That's my description of my romance lifestyle. And as I stepped into it, it literally was so magnetic. I mean, Bali is a very community place for expats. And I was in such a space that actually I just wanted the space to myself. And Catherine, Sarah, there are several of you who've been there with me. You saw how magnetic it was. And Sarah, particularly you stayed with me for many, many weeks. And, I didn't need to go anywhere. It was just magnetic. People just showed up. Magical experiences kept happening because I chose to zoom in and define what that lifestyle meant for me. And it automatically brings you into, I would say it was like the joie de vivre with which I showed up in the world. It was exuberant. So this is the first intimate secret. Choose romance for you as a lifestyle. And when you choose romance as a lifestyle, sure, use moments where you have shared this romance experience with another as your guiding moments for you to define in elaborate details what that lifestyle is for you. Okay, here I am. Right, we continue. The 7 intimate secrets of the Pearl of Wisdom. Intimacy. And this time I've done my notes on my phone, so I'm just getting it back. Okay, here we go. So the first intimate secret is romance. And I was talking about romance as a lifestyle, and it is your lifestyle, which is very personal to you. You develop that lifestyle and you can share it with another, and you can share it with others, but it's very personal to you. So that's the first thing to get, that it's a lifestyle and you design it. You were born into a lifestyle that your parents or whatever environment you grew up in chose to share with you. And now it's up to you to use that as something that you learned from, something that you experienced, and create one that is very unique to you. And then you can go ahead and share that with people that you feel intimately connected to and the world. So let's go to the second intimate secret of intimacy. this one really is the foundational understanding of what intimacy is. This one, so intimacy is into me you see. Into me you see. Often when it comes to intimacy, we definitely put ourselves out there, and most often we don't allow people or the person we want to be intimate with to really see into us. We even don't see into us ourselves. So if intimacy is into me you see, it calls for you really getting to know you. You seeing you for who you are in your fullness. You seeing who you are and owning, unconditionally accepting all aspects of you. The good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all of it. If you don't see into you, whatever you may say, you actually don't allow anyone else to see into you either. Now, if intimacy, the second secret, if intimacy is about into me you see, you're talking about a very deep connection to your physical body, to your mental state, to your emotional presence, to the spirit of you, to how you conduct yourself, in social dynamics, the environment that you have internally and in the environment that you are living in, that you are wanting to share. So when, remember the way the pearls of wisdom are designed is they build on the previous one. And sure enough, you can go in any direction. But if you actually followed it through one after the other, so once you've defined your romance lifestyle, and then you're going into me you see, and you're starting to really engage with what is it that I do see. And you start opening yourself up. It's literally as if you're taking those shutters out and you're opening the window, you're letting the light in. But as you're letting the light in, you're also letting your inner light out for you to be seen. So when you don't see yourself fully, and the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, all of that comes together and makes up you in your regalia. And you see all of it. You may not like some of it, and that's fine. Acknowledging that reduces its hold on you. It dramatically removes its ability to tarnish everything else that you do like about yourself. I'm not asking you to like or not like anything. I'm saying, the second intimate secret is into me you see. That's what intimacy is. So just see it. There is nothing about putting the best foot forward or anything like that. It's the fullness of you. Now, if you've done the romance as a lifestyle and defined that for yourself, and you are in that space, and then you look deeper within you, you are ready to allow yourself to be seen. Now we go into the next series of secrets. because I have my notes on my phone and it gets locked all the time, I have to keep going and unlocking it. So here we go. Into me, you see, if you're now going to engage with this, you're actually taking your body as your partner in this journey of romance and intimacy. And our body is a collection of cells, sure enough. And the systems of our body are made up of are made up of a number of organs that come together to perform a certain function. The cluster of organs that support us in intimacy are our sensory organs. So this was a very profound piece I found for myself when I got into this understanding of intimacy. That, okay, it's a lifestyle that my body tells me how it feels. And it is a lifestyle which my body experiences and consumes and shares. And it is the sensory organs that work with me as my partners in this. Which is like, okay, makes sense. It got me to really understand that sensory organs provide, they have got abilities beyond what we use them for. So our eyes, yes, sure enough, they show you stuff. You're able to see, but it's a sensory organ. So you're seeing, and they also sense. So you may see something, but if you actually allow your eyes to also share with you, what are they sensing from what is actually being shown to you? So you may be seeing something, and what is actually being shown is something, different, or something certainly deeper and more expansive than what you are seeing in the first instance. So I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. I've adopted a romance lifestyle. There I am in Bali, and I go off to this one of our waterfalls that we went to. I'm seeing a waterfall, and yeah, it's great. But what is actually being shown to me? I asked that question. So I'm seeing a waterfall. It's a strong waterfall. And the one that we went to was a narrow waterfall, but a very strong one, and very, very powerful in terms of just the force with which the water came down. When I asked the question that, okay, I'm seeing a waterfall, what are my eyes sensing into this? It's as if that waterfall expanded multifold. And I actually started experiencing the spray of the waterfall. Up to that point in time, I'm like so focused on the waterfall. And then I started actually, what's actually being shown to me here? I start experiencing the spray, and sure enough, I see the spray as well. It was always there. And then when I'm looking at the spray, I see these butterflies flying in and out of the spray. I could barely hold myself up. The strength of the spray was so strong that it felt like the waterfall. And when I kept diving deeper, asking, well, so what is actually being shown to me? So eyes as a sensory organ, sure enough, they show you, but they also sense. And in their sensing, you get to know what is actually being shown to you. What has actually been shown to me in this vista that I was in was that if these butterflies can go in and out of the strong spray of water, that I was really struggling to hold myself up, What do they have that I don't have? And that inquiry led me to understand that what the butterflies have is a lightness of being. So what has actually been shown to me was, that I have a lightness of being should I choose to operate this way. Lightness of being didn't even feature in my description of my romance lifestyle at that point. And a lightness of being is not just, me being able to walk over the rice paper, as they say in Kung Fu. It's also about, how I allow myself to be impacted with something that might have an emotional um, charge around it. There's a lightness of being. I can go in and out of situations knowing that, I am this full spectrum human being that can feel things, and I don't have to get destabilized by that. That came from literally implementing this exercise of I see a waterfall, but what is actually being shown to me? What is actually being shown to me? And you know what happened? I actually saw many more things than just the waterfall. I saw very close to the waterfall was, in fact, a temple. I'd been to that waterfall many, many times up to that point in time and never noticed that there was actually a temple. And what was the most amazing was the temple looked like it was so close to the waterfall, the floor may be slippery, and I wouldn't even attempt going there. But actually, when I saw what has actually been shown to me, I saw that the strength of the water was so strong that the boulders that were there, which formed the floor by this little Balinese temple that was there, were actually pristine, clear. There was no moss. They were not slippery. And the moment you took that step into the floor that was close to the temple, you felt the spray behind you. You heard the waterfall, but you were like in this wonderful cocoon, which was energetically filled with nature spirits. So you felt that okayness vibe. So I took something so physical, asked the question. This is this intimate secret of intimacy. What has actually been shown to me? I get to see all of this stuff. Now you may be in an intimate relationship with someone else. As a lover, you may be in an intimate relationship with your friend, with your siblings. You can have that intimacy with anyone that you choose to share the into me you see experience. And if you were to ask the question, what's actually being shown in this relationship? I see the person, I see the experiences we have, and you just tap into your eyes and your vision and you ask, what's actually being shown to me? And you'll start seeing. Sometimes it'll be the magic and wonder, other times it'll be, a couple of nuance level things that you absolutely must address or change. But until you ask this question, you don't even get to engage with that. So, the first one, romance as a lifestyle, define what that is for you. The second, get that intimacy is into me you see. That calls for you to see into you. And use your eyes as a sensory organ. Really use it for not just seeing what's been shown, but also sensing into what is actually being shown to you. There's a very physical exercise that you can do to start operating this way. And then you can practice this with your in your intimate relationships. When we work with the eyes, you look at a tree, you look at the sky, or whatever it is, just use it with nature spirits. We often look out at the tree, we look out at the sky. What instead, if you stood in front of a tree or you looked up at the sky, and you allowed yourself to be seen, and you received the sky seeing into you. Your eyes settle into your sockets and you allow yourself to be seen. It's quite a special experience. And if you had an intimate, someone you have shared an intimate relationship with, that you wish to deepen your level of intimacy with, have a go. Yes, you see each other. You can look into each other's eyes. What if you allowed your eyes to be a window into you? What if you allowed them to look into you through your eyes? Now, if you've done the work on the first intimate secret romance, and you also engage with the into me you see, where you have seen into yourself, and you open yourself up and receive someone else seeing into you. Useful to begin this exercise with nature spirits. So with trees or with the sky, just to get comfortable at being looked into, with your eyes being the window into you, before you do it with people. It is a very intimate experience and a very beautiful one. The fourth intimate secret of intimacy. We continue working with the sensory organs, and it is the sense of touch. So sure enough, when we want to touch something, there we are, I'm touching this. So, it's like you're touching outwards. What if you can practice this on yourself just to get a feel for how different it is. What if you allowed yourself to be touched? So you can put your hand on top and just allow yourself to feel what it feels like if your left hand is now touching you. You don't even need to, have a skin on skin contact, and you feel being touched. And it's quite a special, exquisite feeling. The interesting thing is that skin is the largest organ in your body, and it's a sensory organ, which means, sure enough, it has a sense of touch, but it's a sensory organ, so it senses. So if something has occurred in your life with another that you were touched by, positively, negatively, whatever it may be, ask the question, what is my sense of touch actually sensing into this incident that took place? And I was doing this work with a couple just a few days ago, and initially, when we asked the question, well, just check in, the sense of touch. And you were touched by someone, and it could be an energetic touch, emotional touch by someone, and you allow your sense of touch as a sensory organ and ask the question, what am I sensing into this thing that occurred that I feel touched by? And when you ask that question, what I found was the answers were many very mental. So I could, and they themselves could see that the mind started, doing the spinning. So I say to people, when you're working with intimacy and you're asking these sort of questions, you literally go into automatic writing. So have a journal with you, electronic journal or a physical journal, and ask the question, you know, my sense of touch, what sense does it make out of this situation? What is it sensing into this? And just write whatever comes out. It could be 1 or 2 words initially, because your mind will be quite strong saying, well, I haven't contributed here, there's nothing coming out, until it does. So just allow that automatic writing to occur, and don't be hard on yourself if nothing happens. Even asking the question at a cellular level, that is your cells are starting to sense, because you're starting to work with your sensory organs as sensory organs that sense into things more. It's literally like the fact that your skin gives you that sense of touch is the tip of the iceberg. The iceberg being all the functionality and all the capability and capacities that your skin actually offers you to enrich your life and come alive. So to work with this practically, I would say, just look at 1 or 2 key incidents, 1 or 2 key relationships where your sense of touch was very engaged. And ask the question, what is the sense of touch actually sensing into this? I was with some horses yesterday and learned how to get close to the horse, literally to have a heart-to-heart hug with a horse. I mean, I used to be scared of it because it's such a huge animal. So it was quite special to really be there and feel into here I am touching this horse. And if I just use the sense of touch as a sensory organ, what am I sensing into this? What is coming through? And really what I got was the innate vibration of a horse is actualization of the self. So the more I was able to just simply be without needing to do anything, the deeper I went into my truth and, more expansive I became in terms of actualizing who I am and what I'm here to cause and make happen. My source mastery is I love leaving people truly, madly, deeply in love with themselves. And this horse started working with that. But it gave me that gift of turning the volume up on the actualization of myself, which I would never have picked up had I not asked. Here I am caressing this animal and it feels really great. What am I sensing into this? It's very, very special. And you can, with your significant other, the one that you have been practicing an intimate connection with, if you used this in your interaction with each other, using touch, where you allow yourself to be touched, and you go deeper into looking at, well, what am I sensing into this? And then you take from that whatever insights emerge and act on it. It's a very exquisite experience. It's a beautiful sharing. And if you've already defined what romance is as a lifestyle for you, and you're sharing that, intimacy becomes a regenerative experience. Just think about it. You don't have to sustain intimacy anymore. Every action that you take, as long as you work with your sensory organs in their fullness, it becomes regenerative. The fifth one, so we have romance. Into me, you see, we've looked at the eyes as a sensory organ. We've now looked at touch. And I really invite you to feel that experience of, being touched, allowing yourself to receive the touch and accepting what it is that you sense into that receiving of that touch. Allowing yourself to receive the touch, allowing yourself to be seen into. The next one is hearing. It's an intimate secret. Your ears, again, sensory organ. Your ears, sure enough, you hear a sound. What are you actually listening for? What are the ears actually sensing behind the sound that you've just received? What is actually being communicated? If you allow your sensory organs to give you that, it actually calms your mind down and you stop spinning. You're able to receive what's actually being communicated. Going back to my story of this waterfall in Bali, I really worked with this sense of hearing. All you could hear was the waterfall, the gushing water, and when it landed on the floor, it was just that you could hear. If I only focused on ears enabling me to hear. But the moment I made my ears a sensory organ, and I asked the question, what are my ears sensing? What is actually being communicated to me? I'd done the vision exercise already. What is actually being shown to me? Then I asked the question, what is actually being communicated here? And that's what I saw. That's what showed me that what's being communicated here is that I live in a world. And if I live in this world, everyone else does too. We share this world that is filled with wonder, that is colorful, that is divinely guided. It has a lightness of being, and it's miraculous. For every moment, a moment by moment, things happen that make my heart sing. And it was through my ears that I actually got to treating my ears as a sensory organ. I sensed into what was actually being communicated here. Remember, there is something, noise is made and you hear it. When you engage with what's actually being communicated, communication is a co-creation. It automatically presences something more than just you. It's a very, very powerful exercise. And you can do it anywhere. I mean, we were there yesterday in the desert. I mean, it's only just over an hour away from, downtown Dubai. And I was in this desert, so not that far away. It's an oasis, spent some time with the horses and then got into the desert. And there were no sounds, or so we thought. Until, I really engaged with, here I am, it feels like there is no sound. What is actually being communicated here? And you know what I felt, what I saw, what I heard, what I experienced? I experienced, the hoofs, the sound of hoofs of horses, because there were wild horses in the oasis, in this oasis area, and there were stables. I also saw tiny little hoofs, sounds of tiny little feet scrambling, and they were gazelles. And then I heard a collection of different bird sounds. And then I heard, like um, like a like horns, tapping against each other. And they were on onyx, I think they're called. It's an animal, very pretty animal, with this fabulous horn that it has. I could even hear that. And then I went into, okay, what else is being communicated here? I actually connected to the depth of the roots that run through any desert. In front of us was just an expanse, endless expanse of sand with some, succulent plants here and there. There was no end to it. Or that's all you saw, all the way until the horizon. And I saw that, wow, any plant in the desert, even though it looks really like a tiny little bush, its root system is really deep. And I was just guiding, people through a journey of laying down their roots, allowing the roots to go as deep as they can, so their trunk, which is their physical presence, is strong, enabling them to expand as much as was called for, without feeling that they were going to lose their balance, so that in their body they can live a life of stillness and enlightenment, expand and grow their businesses, the impact they have on society. All of that was available to them. And we were exactly in the perfect place. All came from, what are my ears sensing? Given that it's a sensory organ, it can actually show me, it can actually communicate to me what's actually being communicated versus what I'm hearing. What I also saw, that all these different sounds were sounds of silence, but they were actually playing out in perfect harmony, so perfect that when I detached myself and only took what my ears were delivering to me just as a receptor of sound, I just heard a humming of silence, nothing else. The only man-made sound I heard was an aeroplane in the distance. And walking from there to the stable's car park was maybe a 20-minute walk. So it wasn't that far from, where where there was lots of sounds. I call these the intimate secrets because each of the secrets are delivered to you through something that is held in your physical body, and it's very intimate to you. And it's there. Even if, you are hard of hearing, your ear is a sensory organ. Even if you are not able to see, your eyes are a sensory organ. So you can sense. Now take this whole sensing piece all the way into taste, your tongue. And there are sometimes it's situations, stories, characteristics, and actual things that you put into your mouth. The initial reaction is doesn't taste that good or taste absolutely delicious. But what if you use the sense of taste as a sensory organ? Gail just did a fabulous performance. And if you were to look at it, even as you were singing, it actually tasted really good. The vibe of the place. And what was coming through, it tasted really good because you were being authentic. You were singing a song you'd written at a particular point in time in your life. And you were delivering it in your complete authenticity. And it tasted good. Now, if you were to apply this, let's say, just take some food, just so that you develop a relationship to taste as a sensory experience, not just as an experience per se. You can use it with food. You allow yourself to just take a morsel of food and feel and sense into it. What are you actually tasting here? What does it really taste like? You will get to understand the nuances with which your tongue has been created. There's certain tastes that land in certain parts of your tongue. You get to know your own sensory organs so intimately that they actually become even more pronounced in their functionality. So as a result, your ability to sense into things before you embark on something that might take up a lot of your time and energy and not become regenerative, you're able to prevent that. You're able to literally put a stop to false starts and go on a drunken walk just because you feel like it, as opposed to find some many hours have been wasted because you veered away from the path that you were on. Work with your sensory organs and sense into it, and actually in your acts of intimacy. Intimacy is into me, you see, and it can be delivered in a variety of actions that you take. Once you really perfect your relationship, perfection lies in embracing imperfection. So you go through various practice runs where you're layering different ways in which you get to know your sensory organs as sensory organs. You're able to experience the acts of intimacy as as a very full, rich, enriching experience for yourself and for another. And we can't forget the sense of smell, your nose. We often use it energetically. Oh, something doesn't smell right here. Well, why is that phrase used? Well, because the sense of smell delivered through your nose is also a sensory organ. And so if something doesn't smell right here, is a sensing experience. So you can literally, there's so many times people would, they still do, ask me, should I do this? Should I do that? Is this a good thing that's happening in the world? Is that something I should take a stand for? And you can literally use your own sensory organs. The fact that a question arises, should you do this or that? Use your sense of smell. And find out what's actually being shown to you. What about, does it smell good? You'll get an intuitive response just because you're acknowledging your nose as a sensory organ. You will be able to make those choices and decisions for yourself. Always useful to have an overarching context. And if you don't have one, your overarching context can simply be coming alive. And from that context, you use your sensory organs to give you an understanding of what am I sensing here? What is my nose sensing here? And then you make your choices from there. Now, as you start perfecting, so this is the seventh intimate secret, as you start perfecting this, which basically means every step of the way, you're also noticing what is not perfect and embracing that imperfection and continuing to work with it, with this particular sensory organ that you're dealing with. The acts of intimacy become richer. Every intimate act or action that you take holds you in your presence, and you become present whilst engaging in those acts. You become present when you're allowing the person you're having an intimate interaction with to look into you. You become very present to experiencing the touch back. And you can even do it to yourself. Allow yourself to be touched. Just feel your body touching back into you. These are just physical experiences for you to know that there is greater depth when you work with your sensory organs as the secrets to enriching your intimacy and creating intimacy as a regenerative experience. This couple that I've been working with, I was just sharing with Catherine, and they're talking about, they've been together for over 25 years. And it's like they're experiencing their intimate connection to each other. It's at the level that it was when they had first met. And there's complete stillness within them whilst experiencing all of this. There's this greater depth to each one, as you work through each of these sensory organs, and you can play with it, create your own experiences to really know. The main thing is to know intimacy is into me, you see. Romance is a lifestyle that you create for yourself. You define what that is. And then you work with your sensory organs as your partners, really understanding each one of them as a sensory organ which allows you to sense beyond what is immediately available at face value. Those are the 7 intimate secrets of intimacy. Literally, play with it, work with it, enjoy and revel in it. Over to you, Catherine.
Thank you, Mynoo. Thank you for reminding us we have these sensory tools right at our disposal. We bring this more and more intimacy into our lives and become more present with ourselves. I think that's what I got from tonight. And then once we become more present with ourselves, we're able to share with another. Thank you. Thank you. I know we're over time. Thanks to everyone for your patience. We got through this. Amazing, Mynoo. You were able to mastermind it all, and can't wait to see you all here next week for our 43rd Pearl of Wisdom. So good night to everyone. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Mynoo.
Bye-bye.